comment and tell me if you do Instagram stories, if you are showing up daily, what questions you have, and what your average views are. It can really vary. It can vary from account to account and from season to season. So, comment with those questions. Okay, I want to go into how to do stories. So, I am going to share my profile. You're going to click this plus button and it will give you these options. All of these are good things to do, things that we should be doing regularly. Today, we're going to focus on the story. Okay, so I took a picture, and this is then what we can add. You can do a filter, you can do a link to your IGTV videos, that would be your longer than 60-second videos. You can save the photo. This sticker gives you more options of things to do. And then this is a draw feature and text. I would suggest you always add text. Whatever you are doing, add some text on the photo, and then this square is an important thing too. So when you click that square, this is what you get. Location, you can mention another account, you can use a hashtag. I would suggest you use at least one hashtag here for maybe your location. If you are in Kansas City, I would say Kansas City in your hashtag, or another larger hashtag that would help to identify you a little bit more. Or if you're doing like a family activity, use a more family oriented hashtag. This helps you to find GIFs, things to add some movement to your photo. If you have a creator account, you can have music usually. You can add a poll. This is really helpful, and I will talk about that in a minute. Questions, a countdown like to an event that you're doing, a slider bar, like maybe you have just a cute picture of your kids or something, your pet, your activity. You can add a slider bar to just get more engagement going on that particular thing. The quiz gives you like 4 options of what you can. Okay, so we will go on from that. If you have any questions on how to do an Instagram story, please comment and tell me, and we will try to answer all of your questions on the how-to of doing stories. Okay, so Instagram stories is kind of unique in social media. It's a story feature on Facebook as well. LinkedIn has it. Let me know if you're using stories on any other feature or social media like Snapchat or things. So it is helpful to do stories daily, but I don't want it to be something that is overwhelming or annoying or just eating up your time for no reason. But it is helpful to do it on stories a couple of times throughout the day. That will bring your bubble back to the beginning of someone's lineup so that they will see you more often. And in that, when I say a story, I mean you can do 1 to 3 to 5 slides at a time. So if you log in the morning and you put a morning thing, then in the evening put something else, that's great. Just doing a couple of slides at each time of day. So when you're doing daily stories, here's a couple of things. I want you to think about 3 things. Doing something personal, where it's a photo or a video of you, something where you're sharing from another account and building a partnership collaboration, and also something that's engaging. So if you're thinking about those 3 things, personal, sharing, and engaging, that can help you to kind of decide what you're going to do in stories today, because they are not something that you can schedule. It is something you can plan out and have an idea for, but you can't actually click them to post all by themselves without you doing something. You can prepare them in advance in different ways, and we will talk about that. So a photo or video of you first is more engaging because people like people. So I would still add some text, some titles. I personally do not like auto captions on stories. Nothing makes me swipe faster than having to watch somebody's words pop up in the screen one by one. I think a lot of people really want to have some captions, but I would say just headlines. Just put a headline of what you're talking about so that they know if they want to turn their volume on or not. In that photo or video of you, it can be educational and valuable, or it can be behind the scenes and personal. I like to do a little bit of both of those. Let's see. There is also a feature that you should know in this, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. You can do hands-free. So when you pop up that screen on a story to do it, it will have different options on the left, and you can go down to the bottom. There's boomerang, there's all kinds of fun stuff. But if you go down to the bottom, you can click hands-free, and that will give you 4 slides of not pressing on the button and holding it down. So 15-second slides, you get 4 of them so you can talk for a minute and just have that as a video. You can also just do a 1-minute video on your phone and upload it. Sometimes I do that because Instagram will glitch and not post, or just not post one of your stories, and then you're caught in mid-sentence with this weird story that you didn't finish saying. So I like to sometimes just record a 1-minute video and watch that time and make sure it doesn't go over, so that you can upload it and have 4 slides. So photo or video of you, making sure it's educational and valuable or behind the scenes and personal, adding subtitles or headlines, doing the hands-free, and also sometimes just showing up raw and real, sometimes showing up funny. You can use filters. So not all the time do we feel bright and fresh and ready to talk in the morning. It's okay to put a filter where you have a little bit better lighting, or just a little bit more interest. One of these days I'm going to put a filter that has a mustache, and that'll be fun, but or scary, maybe. All right, so the next thing, if we've done a photo or a video of ourselves, the next thing would be sharing. So it is very simple to share something from another account and give them absolute credit, and kind of broaden the horizon of what you're sharing from your own original content. So in photos or videos of you, I would also share your own feed posts into your story, another way to promote that post. But you kind of have to do a little bit more of a teaser for them to go to your feed post and read it or see it. So then on sharing somebody else's, what you can do is you can, as you're scrolling through your feed and engaging with other people, like we talked about before, you can click the save bookmark, and then you have a collection of things that you would like to share to your stories. Or you can just go ahead and share it directly, which is the little paper airplane. And it'll, if it is a public account, then it will have that and you can share it to your story. If it's a private account, then you won't be able to share it to your story. My suggestion with that is, like, if it's a quote, if it's the funny cartoons about chiropractic that you might see, I wouldn't put them on your feed where they stay and everybody sees them all the time and they might not be completely on brand. I put them in your stories. So click the paper airplane, send it to your stories, add something else, or if it is something that is a little bit outside of your specific, like outside of your brand, if it is about yoga, if it is about maybe it's home birth, maybe it's nutrition, maybe it's mental health, then I would add some text that brings it back to how chiropractic plays into that, so that you're staying on brand. If you have any comments so far, let me know. Is it hard for you to show up in photo or video? Have you shared from other accounts? Comment and let me know. Other accounts too. What I really would suggest you do is going back to that square with the smiley face and tagging them. So that's the @ symbol, and putting their handle so that they get a notification that you shared it to your story. It's just a great way to give them a shout out and to say, thanks for producing this content that I could just easily share into my story. And it's a great way of broadening the amount of value that you share in your stories. I would also add a location tag anytime that you can. If you are in a small town, for example, I'm in a small town 30 miles north of Wichita, Kansas. So I like to tag the location as Wichita, or I would if I was a brick and mortar. So try and do the location tag for a little bit larger area, where your story might actually be featured in that town, but it's not like hundreds of miles away either. It's still relevant. It's still you. The thing with location tags too is, if you are at a specific park, a specific yoga studio, a specific coffee house, then tag that location. And tag them if it's a local partner who you love to just give shout outs to, tag their location then. Third one is things that are engaging. So at least once a day, try to use the poll where it's yes or no, and you can change those. It doesn't have to say yes or no. The slider bar, the quiz with the 4 countdown. If you have an event coming up, if you're doing a live, if you are celebrating anything, if you have any kind of an event online or in person, then do the countdown for the event in your stories and help build up some excitement and interest. People can put reminders on those countdowns so that they will be reminded that, oh, they were going live and talking about colic and I really wanted to hear that. So with stories too, I want you to think of it as a little bit more relaxed place to be on Instagram, doing boomerangs, using the GIFs so that you have something funny that's kind of flashing and moving. They have a new feature there called Photo Booth where it will flash several pictures of you like a photo booth. So that is really fun and engaging as well. And then weekly, something that's fun to do is something that's more of a series. This can be helpful for you for days that you're in the office and you're really busy and you have no time, or your CA has no time to be messing around on Instagram stories. You can have these ready and prepared. So I like to go into Canva and make a template that is valuable information that we want to share regularly. Maybe it is kind of an intro, like what to expect, welcome to our office. So it might have your first phone call, your first visit, x-rays, second visit, ROF, just anything that people might need to know and how to contact you on like 5 to 9 slides. You might put, if you, one of your niches like sports chiropractic or pediatric or kids on the spectrum, whatever, you might have a slide that just says, this is our niche, this is what we're about. You can have one that's your mission statement. You can have one that's talking about x-rays. You can have one that's talking about the doctor's training. So preparing those in advance and having those ready, I save those into a Instagram story highlight bubble on the profile that says something like start here. So people who are new to the page know that is where they should go for an introduction to your office, really. You can also get those ready on any other topic that you want to share, whether it would be a niche of people or a condition, colic or something that you want to highlight. You can have those ready from Canva, saved on your phone and ready to upload. The other thing that is interesting to do weekly is a poll. You do a series of, maybe it's the same photo, but you're using that poll option where you say yes or no, and you're changing it to options. I like to do a fun question and a serious one and alternate so that we are finding out what our audience needs, but we're also entertaining them. So ideas for that, I will post, but it is things like, maybe it's at Christmas and you're like, is your Christmas tree still up or is it down? Maybe it's treats, like, do you prefer fresh fruit or dried fruit? Also, as a series, so those Canva templates and then polls, the third thing for a series is answering questions. So asking people or letting people ask you a question or in that question box so that then you can reply to their questions in a series. On your stories, how do we move this from being just a fun behind the scenes to really promoting our business and helping people in a more hands-on, less virtual way? Part of that can be the call to action, where as you are using your photo or talking or sharing your content, you're saying, click the link in our bio to give us a call. Watch this IGTV video for more, this 30-minute video that gives you training in what you need, or having them click the link to go to a Facebook group. You can also tell them that they can send you a DM and you will send them the link personally. It takes more time, but it's super personal and super nice. So sometimes you will do one of those polls and you won't share the results, but you want to see who shared what, who has a baby who isn't sleeping well, how can I follow up with them? So let me share my screen. your profile and click the three little bars menu on the upper right, and it will say archive. And then this is what you will see. And it is an archive of all of the Instagram stories that you have done. They don't disappear after 24 hours. You can still find them. So you can go back to your poll. This is one I did a couple weeks ago, and see, you could go down to voters and you could see who had said yes, who had said no. What you have to do, like, it won't immediately show you these numbers. You might have to tap the actual poll to open that up and then click the people's names at the bottom to get the numbers. And then you could go ahead and share the results there. Okay, in that archive, you also have your post archive and any lives that you've done on Instagram as well. Your Instagram lives you can share to IGTV, but if you didn't for any reason and you want to see it later, then that is where you would find it, from your profile, the three-bar menu, and then archive. And you can click the little arrow. I think it automatically goes to stories, but you can click the little arrow beside stories and see your archived posts and lives. Okay, so everybody, have a great week. I appreciate you, and I'm so grateful for chiropractors like you that are so dedicated to showing up in the world and educating. So have a great week.